like to totally call.
I think it's actually a really good idea.
I use a lot of salt.
That's chicken. समियन याचे पायात त्यांनी बूट घातले बघ बर्फामध्ये यांना बूट घालतात त्याचा बूट बघ
बापरे डेडली आहे हा.
याचा बूट पाहिलास का तू तसे प्रत्येकाचे बूट असतात नाहीतर यांना पायाला खूप थंडी वाजते हे सिल्वी
I am 9 years old. Hello.
Much bigger, much slower. They
डोकं दुखते तुझं
कोणी दुखत आहे अरे नेमकं ते भुयामध्ये हे आलंय
कारण झाडीचं घर आहे.
उष्णतेने बारीक फोड आलाय
थोडा आलाय तो दुखायला आलाय राव
समियन त्याच्या कुठे हात लावायचा त्याला आवडतं बघ
तेव्हा ते करायला आहे का ते कर म्हणाला तसं तुला
तो म्हणतो अजून कर
एकदम रिलॅक्स झाला तू त्याला कर असं म्हणाला जरा
हे हात लाव
काय आहे
किती सुंदर आहेत ना
असं इथे हात लाव समी ना बघ इथे इथं असं
आणीला बरं वाटेल मग अशी लावलास तर तिला ते बघ
तेव्हा मी दाखवतो तुला
आपण खायला काय घ्यायचं का कुत्र्यांना ते देतात का बघू का आपण देऊ
नाही त्यांचं खूप कॅल्क्युलेटेड आणि याचा डाएट असतो त्यांचा
तिला विचार
कॅल्क्युलेटेड आणि स्ट्रिक्ट डाएट असतं
So sometimes we breed parents who aren't from the kennels, but for the most part, they'll be around each other and the
they
siblings.
kind of maintain the bond.
So Sultana's
I don't know
kind
if they
of
know about parents and children.
yeah. The dad has like absolutely nothing.
Nothing to do.
But mom will keep her in with the puppies until about
A year.
after they're weaned. And so Rupi, the mom this year, she's not. Yeah, no problem.
झानी झोपली आहे समी झानीला मे बी डिस्टर्ब केलेलं नाही बघ तरी कसे डोळे मिटलेत दुःख
They are their own breed. They're kind of a mix of
But I see that dog and this one is different.
Yeah. Same breed, but completely different.
Completely different, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Completely different. Look-wise different, health-wise different. Yeah, it's just it's a baby.
They're all very friendly, so they're also very friendly. A lot of them are actually.
In the summertime, yeah. In the summertime, but
Are you guys planning on taking those back out of the visitor
Yeah,
center?
yeah.
You are?
Yeah. Why? Are we going to smell or something?
What?
Are we going to smell bad or something?
No, you're not gonna smell bad. We try not to publicize it too much. You guys seem really
Yeah.
we wouldn't be like, we wouldn't be able to do it. We socialize the puppies and we bring them out after dresses.
Oh wow.
After most of the people like people after we bring out the puppies. I don't know if you guys are able to stay
Well,
around.
for that we can stay.
What?
We can walk for that.
I'd say like probably
Sure.
You guys fighting again?
So they are the leader of Rupi. Rupi is their mom.
Yes. Hey. You have a small white. Do you have a dot on your nose? Do you have a dot on? Let me see.
Are they done yet?
Hey, this guy right here has been really bullying everyone else. Like he was
Will you just like open them up and empty them and dump the rest of it?
You want me to?
Yeah.
All right. I'm enjoying hanging out. Hey, what do you
Probably
think?
shouldn't sit on that. It looks like it's bending.
Really?
Yeah.
This is decompressing.
Yeah, don't sit on the plastic. You can sit on the house if you want, but don't sit on the plastic. But dump the things. Here. Did you do the...
You know, I was going to ask where is the application for his job.
You can erase it. I felt like there was a lot more food in it.
11 weeks, so it's like...
I was going to ask where is the application for his job. What? I would like to apply for his job.
Sorry, folks. Oh boy. Love you, Dan. Come on. I don't want to crush you.
समीन मला माहिती सांगा त्याची काय आहे स्लेजचं काय असतं काय कशासाठी वापर करतात ही स्लेज कोण ओढतं कुत्री ओढतात
Like every time, like right after they
Not because of cycle, because it's not good. त्याला ना असं कधी हे घातलेलं आवडायचं नाही लिस्ट
हो का
बाहेर गेलं की लगेच यायचं ना कंपाऊंड मध्येच फिरायचं जरा
हां असं काय तर झालं असेल इथे तुला कुत्र्यांचा आवाज काढता येतो का तो काढ
In my hand. Vista. They stole my hat and ran away with it. Here's Vista. She's pretty cute, huh?
Hey, beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Those of you who are finding seats right now, just to let you know, during the course of the program, everybody will have to be behind the railings or behind the rope over there. So you guys right here, when we are doing anything where the dogs are moving, you're going to want those feet tucked right up, okay? Because sometimes they do like to swing a little wide. Okay, so staying behind the railings during the program. And yeah, I know. I just chat to people before we get going. Marinelle's letting me know, don't start yet. So while we're waiting and while these guys get in their extra dog time, I'm happy to answer a question or best. And you can see if you go into our sled room after the program, the sled that has sort of the ranger standing behind it with sort of the funny painted, printed out face in the fur brush there, that's typical of what our winter sleds look like, just to give you a better idea. All right, guys, so we are gathering up. I'm going to ask everybody to make their way over to the stands. And just as a reminder, during the program, and especially during the runs, any portion of the program where the dogs are moving, everybody has to be behind that line that the railings create and that this rope over here creates. And so my folks who are sitting on the steps, you will have to scooch back, okay, just so you know. When the dogs aren't running around, like for this first portion, you'll be okay. But especially once we get ready to do anything where the dogs are moving, I will ask you to tuck right in there. And so the folks walking down the trail can hear me. We are getting ready to start, so if you guys can move on over to the stands quickly, that would be great. So I did not introduce myself to you on the bus. And I want to officially welcome you to the Denali National Park and Preserve Sled Dog Kennels. We are the only national park in the country with a working sled dog kennel. So this is a pretty unique and very interesting opportunity. I'm really glad that you all came out this afternoon to check out our dogs. We always love teaching people about them and showing them off. And so before we get started with the formal part of the program, I always like to poll my audience. How many people here are dog people? Maybe I love them or like them so much that they're better than people some days, I think.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I really, really enjoy dogs, and you can imagine other coworkers. That would be weird, but these guys, I can do it. And we really do mean it when we call these dogs canine rangers. They are an integral part of the ranger staff here at Denali. They help rangers like me teach visitors like you about history and heritage here in this park and in Alaska. And more importantly, they help out our kennels rangers, our scientists, our maintenance staff be able to access remote wilderness areas of the park while maintaining the wilderness character of those areas. And so that is a big job, and it's a difficult job, but I can assure you that these dogs are literally born to do the work. And so that's the first thing that I want to show you guys. Are you ready to see the dogs run?
Yes.
All right, very cool. So, in just a moment, I'm going to run over and help these guys harness up the dogs. And what you're going to see today is Ashley. She is one of our fantastic Student Conservation Association rangers. She is going to be hopping on the back of that sled and racing 5 dogs all the way around this track at lightning speed and landing right here in front of us. When we go to harness up the dogs, you're going to notice a few things. One, the dogs all get really excited. They don't know who we're picking. And 2, when we grab the dogs, we're going to take them by the collar and pull them up next to our bodies and put them into what we call 2-paw drive. It looks a little scary. I promise it does not hurt the dogs at all. They are used to moving in this fashion, and they just kind of hop along on those back feet till we get them where we need them. And the reason that we do this is that these dogs are so fast and so powerful. If we let them go into 4-paw drive, guess whose face is in the dirt? Okay? So we put them up into that 2-paw drive, and then we will get them harnessed up. While we are harnessing them up, and certainly while Ashley is racing the track, this is when it is most important to have you guys stay back. So don't lean out for a better photo or a better view. That is for your safety, our safety, and the dog safety. So we really appreciate your cooperation on that. And so with that, I'm going to take off the hat and the microphone, and I'm going to go run and get a dog. Okay?
Oh, look at them all.
Since when they run, they all jump around.
They all want to get pegged too.
Incredible.
When they open,
they all want the same.
Once they open one door, one dog, they practically drag it along. That guy has them on 4 feet. They're all trying to pull it. They're like, please. Once one dog barks and notices it.
Come बघायला आता गमत बघ.
So she has a break in on the bottom of that sled.
They're like, yeah.
आणि ती किती वेगाने चालली आहे बघ समीन, आपल्या कार सारखी चालली आहे.
All right, let's give Ashley and the dogs a big hand.
You're like, that's it?
All right. So, obviously, these dogs have pretty significant athletic prowess. They're really strong and they're really fast. They also have really fun and different personalities. And so those personalities develop right here in the Denali kennels because most of our dogs are born and raised right here, or they come here right after they're born as puppies. And as they learn the kennel's routines, as they figure out what it means to be a sled dog, those personalities start developing. And the kennel staff is able to look at the dogs and figure out where each may best fit in any given team that we put together. And so this is what I mean by personalities. Yes, thank you, Timber. You got it, buddy. All right, so let's meet our team today. So in the wheel position, we have Timber and we have Tatum. And typically the dogs in the wheel position are the largest dogs on the team. Because today they are just pulling Ashley, and she does not weigh very much, we don't need to have a big dog team, and so Tatum can run in the wheel because she's a little girl. But the reason that they are the biggest dogs is because they take on that initial weight of the sled as you take off. Now, if this were a winter run and we were going out on the trail, in front of our wheel dogs, we would have some team dogs. The team dogs, their job is simply to pull and maintain speed. And we determine the number of team dogs based on the weight on the sled. So heavier sled, more dogs, and we would have anywhere from 2 to 4 dogs in that team position. In front of the team, we would have swing dogs. Today we've got 1. Normally we would have 2 on a winter team. And we have our buddy Lucky in the swing position. Swing is important because they're sort of like the steering wheel. And that's because our lead dogs, they might take a nice sharp corner, and the team dogs say, oh look, hey, the leader's over there, and they might want to cut that corner. And so what the swing dogs do is they take the team in a nice wide arc around that corner, and that keeps the dogs and the sled on the trail, and our musher on the sled, which is probably pretty important, right, Ashley? Yes. And then in front of our swing dogs, up front we have Elixir and Opus today. They are our lead dogs. The lead dogs are the ones who set the pace, they keep the team motivated, they are the ones who take the commands from our musher for G and Ha, which are the directions, but they also have to be very alert and very intelligent because they have some decisions to make out on the trail as well. And so about 1/3 of the dogs in our dog yard will make it to that lead position. but generally, any of the dogs can fit into any position on the team. So for instance, if our lead dogs need a break from breaking trail out there in the winter, they can move back into a team position where they have less responsibility and less work to do. We may also pop in some experienced leaders into a swing position while some younger dogs take out that try and lead. So they've got that wisdom right behind them in swing saying, this is what that command means, and helping them figure out what that lead dog job is. Otherwise, the wheel dogs, swing dogs, team dogs, they can be moved around anywhere on the team. And so that is our team today. And you guys got to meet the dogs in the yard earlier. And do they look the way you expected them to look? Are these typically what you see in movies and on TV when you think about a sled dog?
No.
No. So our dogs, they're a little scruffy, right? They're all different colors. They don't all have those beautiful blue eyes. And that's because when you are pulling hundreds of pounds over hundreds of miles, performance takes precedence over pretty. But we still think it's pretty, okay? Don't worry, Lindsay. Don't want to offend them. So, yeah, we don't have those traditional Siberians or Malamutes that you see on TV and movies, and that's simply because those dogs aren't bred to do the kind of work that we need them to do here in the park. But our dogs are actually a singular breed of dog. They're all Alaskan Huskies. And so Alaskan Huskies are bred based on personality and performance. And so there are several unique adaptations and traits of Alaskan Huskies. And while Lucky's standing up for me, come here, buddy. So one of those things with our Alaskan Huskies that allow them to run, pull, and be adapted to working in cold climates is they have these nice long legs. And that's allowed them to go down the trails in that deep snow. They also have nice, big, but tightly compacted feet. And that's so that the space between the pads on their paws stays tight and they don't get buildup of snow and ice in there that can potentially cut and injure their paws. They also have these nice thick double coats, and that's to keep them both warm and dry out there in the snow. And then one of my favorite adaptations of the Alaskan Husky are these beautiful bushy tails. And what they do with those is when they lay down in the hay in the snow at night when they're out there in the winter, they curl up in a little ball and they take that tail and they wrap it around and cover up their nose. It is the cutest thing. And so these guys are pretty amazing. They are unique genetically. They have tested the Alaskan Husky dog, but they are not recognized by the American Kennel Club as a pure breed. So we kind of have to think of these guys as a lovely mutt that has been perfected over the better part of 100 years to result in these amazing doggy athletes. And the story of that evolution of these dogs is really important to us, not only in Denali National Park, but also for the National Park Service as a whole. And that's because national parks are tasked not only with preserving our beautiful wild and natural places, but also with telling the American story. And so the story of these dogs is the story of Alaska. And historians and scientists, they believe humans first started using dogs to pull sleds and haul freight about 3,000 years ago. And then Europeans and Russians were first exposed to the unique dogs here in Alaska in the late 1700s, early 1800s, during a period of intense exploration by both of those groups. By the turn of the century, with the Klondike Gold Rush and a period of expansion in Alaska, the use of sled dogs was prolific. In fact, the late 1800s, early 1900s was known as the era of the sled dog. And these dogs were used for everything from hauling freight to delivering the mail, and they really were the only efficient and effective means by which to reach remote areas of Alaska, including what was then called Mount McKinley National Park. In fact, our first superintendent was a man named Harry Karstens, and he was a veteran dog musher. He was brought here to the park in 1921, 4 years after it had been established, and his first job was to stamp out poaching of the park's wildlife by market hunters. When Karstens got here, hunters were up on the northern and eastern borders of the park, and they were killing caribou, moose, and Dall sheep to excess. And so Karstens knew the only way to reach those remote areas of the park was with a team of dogs. And so he established the first Parks Kennels at that time, so that he and his rangers would have a reliable, healthy, well-trained team of dogs at all times. And we've pretty much had working dogs in this park ever since.
Wow.
And that is why we have these dogs in the park today. They truly are part of the fabric of this place. Now today, they are not in charge of going out and catching poachers. We leave that to our law enforcement rangers. But they do play a really important role in protecting this place, as I alluded to earlier. These dogs are protectors of wilderness. And that's because when this park was expanded in 1980 under the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, the 2 million acres that had been the original Mount McKinley National Park were federally designated as wilderness. And under that definition of wilderness, these areas were meant to stay pristine and untouched by the hand of man. And so these 2 million acres in the heart of the park as of 1980, you could not access them using ATVs or snowmobiles or any other motorized transport. So the question became, how do we get to these millions of acres without that? And the answer was pretty simple. We use our dogs. We do it the way we'd always done it. And so today the dogs have projects every winter, and they include going into the backcountry and hauling out debris from old structures. They haul in scientific equipment. This is a sound monitoring system that got chewed on by a bear last winter, so that's why Natural Resources is letting us use it as a prop now. They also stash and stock up the backcountry cabins, and then of course they meet and greet with our winter visitors. And we do have winter visitors here, I promise. And over the course of the winter, the kennel as a whole, these dogs will log about 3,000 miles in the backcountry. And in the summer, even though they put on 3 of these dog demos every day for 50,000 visitors, summertime is relaxing time for these guys. And so you can see they're like, all right, Jen, time's up. We've put in 20 minutes. This is a good day's work. And so we're going to start unharnessing them, and we are going to send the dogs home. And so what we mean by sending the dogs home is that they've all been trained to run home, off leash, back to their houses, and if they do it correctly, they get a treat, they get rewarded with a cookie. And even though they are well trained and they've done this many times, we always find it rather exciting here in the dog yard when we let them off leash. We never know what exactly is going to happen. So we're going to get these guys off their harnesses, and when we do this, when we send them home, we're going to do that same thing where we put them up into the 2-paw drive. Again, they are anxious to get home, and so they're going to want to pull pretty hard. And we're going to move them up to the edge of the dog yard, and then we're going to do what we like to call doggy bowling. And our kennel staff is going to have the dogs on leash, and then they're going to give them a little bit of a running start and bowl them down the lane, heading them in the right direction. Their houses do move around with some frequency, and so they need a little help remembering where they live right now. And so the first dog who is going to go home today is my buddy Lucky. So Lucky's actually one of my favorite dogs in the yard because he has such a unique look. He is very popular with visitors for photos because of those gorgeous blue eyes. But he also, we get the most questions about his heritage and lineage. People don't believe he's a husky. He looks a little bit like a lab, but that just demonstrates how Alaskan Huskies can look so different. And so Lucky is home on his own, super exciting. And next up is my man Opus. So Opus actually came to us from an outside kennel. He came from a racing kennel. And the reason that they adopted him out to us is because he was too big and too fluffy to be a good racing dog. But we love him because big and fluffy works for freight hauling, and he's a very, very powerful dog. And now we have Elixie. Elixie is also an outside kennel dog, and she does have her sister who came to us as well. And I bet if you walk around the dog yard after, it'll be pretty easy to find her sister. And we do joke a little bit that even though Elixie's a great dog, she's a little bit of a space cadet. All right, Timber is next. Timber's one of our old men, And Timber is actually going to be retiring this summer. So this is probably one of the last handful of dog demos he's going to get to do. And he is retiring to a family here in Alaska, actually just up the road in Chile. So that's kind of fun that we might be able to still see him after he retires. And off he goes, and Ashley's down there catching. She's the one responsible for cookies. They know that. And then our final dog going home today is Tatum, nicknamed Tater Tot. Tatum is a little bit of a crazy dog. She's really fun, but she's also our most reliable dog when dealing with a new puppy. She's a very, very good and she takes pride in that role as Auntie. And so you just saw Plan B. Plan B is if they do not go home to where they're supposed to go, they have to go in the kennel's office, and they still get the cookie when they go in the kennel's office. And she could not have demonstrated that fact about her baby Auntie anymore. Alright guys, so let's give them a hand. Alright, good girl. Okay guys, so we're not done with the program yet.
They've 200,000 years have been grown in Alaska. Evolved. Hi, sweetie. Sorry. You don't like everything you're doing? Okay. Yeah. Too many people? He doesn't want to be touched.